Hey everybody, I'm John, and this is Blind Whiskey Reviews. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today here on Blind Whiskey Reviews, the most honest reviews out there on YouTube. As always, if you're liking these videos, don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying what you're seeing. Today, we're reviewing a very, I would say, marketed whiskey. This is the Matthew McConaughey Special from Wild Turkey. It is Longbranch. And this whiskey, you've probably seen advertisements of. You know, when Wild Turkey did their kind of marketing pair up with Matthew McConaughey to create a whiskey. Apparently he's very involved in the creation of this whiskey, so they've done a ton of marketing behind it because they've got the celebrity backing kind of to go along with this whiskey. So I am very, very interested to do this review, and I'm glad it finally came up. So without further ado, let's jump back in time before I knew what I was drinking and get to the review. All right, everybody, let's get into the whiskey. We've got a very large pour of a medium amber colored whiskey here. Got some nice alcohol legs coming down the glass. On the nose, first thing I'm hit with at a distance is some light fruit. That apple cut like a juicy red apple again. Get a little bit further toward the glass, you start picking up a little bit of vanilla. Some caramel, maybe a touch of red fruit. I almost smell an oaky quality in there too, I feel like. Interesting nose. Let us get into the taste. Cheers. At first taste, the palate definitely does not match what's on the nose. I'm not getting a lot of those qualities that I smelled, a lot of those characters. Comes off a bit thin. Short finish. Got almost no flavor left in my mouth. Let's get another taste before we start making any judgments on this. Second taste is a little bit better. Definitely picking up on a bit more of the fruity characters. Like I'd mentioned, that kind of red apple. You get a taste of that. God, but such a short finish. Everything's there and then it's gone really quickly. You're left with a little lingering sweetness and a little bit of that red fruit. Kind of lingers on the palate. But most of the flavor comes and goes. There's definitely a taste of alcohol here too, which I think is a bit off-putting. I don't really necessarily like when things taste like alcohol, if that makes any sense. But let's get another taste on the palate here. Yeah, I mean, there's not much going on in the palate complexity-wise. Very low on the complexity scale. Like I said, you've just got kind of like these light fruity notes, a little bit of red fruit. You're not getting much of the caramel brown sugar. Maybe the slightest hint of vanilla on the palate. I know I picked up a little bit of almost an oaky character on the nose, and you're not getting any of that on the palate. The only sign of oak here is maybe a little bit of tannic bitterness that you're left with on the palate after you've swallowed. But yeah, this thing just isn't doing a whole lot for me. Lower proof, you know, maybe 85-ish, 85 to 90 perhaps. Just very thin. Give it one more taste here. Maybe we can find some redeeming qualities, but not bad as of now, just not great. Yeah, it just comes and goes so quickly. There's just not much to grab onto. So, you've heard what I think. Not very complex. Finish is incredibly short. Mouthfeel is very thin. Proof is pretty low. Like I said, I'm sticking around maybe 85 proof. Just not a lot of flavors on the palate. Touch of an alcohol taste, which I don't particularly care for. The nose was pretty decent, but the nose isn't adding up to what you get on the palate with this whiskey. So, nothing wrong with it per se, other than maybe, like I said, a little bit of that alcohol taste. But there's not much going on. I got to give this one a relatively low mark. I'm not going to give it anything in the 60s because for me, if it's in the 60s, there's got to be something really off about it. But it's definitely for me in the low 70s. I'm going to say this is a 71. It's just, it doesn't have much going for it. So let's find out what it is. Oh, wow. Wild Turkey Longbranch. Now that is surprising. I've never had this whiskey before. I've heard decent things about it, and it's not adding up, at least not on this taste. So let me grab that bottle, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, everybody, we just finished the review of the Wild Turkey Longbranch. This is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, which is oak and Texas mesquite charcoal refined, at 43% alcohol by volume, 86 proof. And wow, am I disappointed in this whiskey. As I mentioned after the review, I've never had this whiskey before, and I was really looking forward to it. I am a huge Wild Turkey fan. I love apparently almost everything they put out. And I have to say, aside from maybe their budget 81 proof release of Wild Turkey, this is my least favorite Wild Turkey whiskey. I mean, it is not good. I am super surprised that this whiskey tastes the way that it does. It does not have complexity. It tastes like alcohol. It doesn't have a lot of character to it. It doesn't taste like Wild Turkey. And with all of the marketing and everything that goes behind this, you'd think they'd put out a better product, because even people that don't know anything about whiskey, I can't imagine they drink this and say, oh my God, that's so good. So I am very baffled by this. This is an 8-year-old product. It doesn't say it on the bottle. It does say it in the neck tag here. And let me just tell you what we got a little bit going on here. This is blah, 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 blah. Master Distiller Eddie Russell present a rare. This is apparently rare. No, it's not. A rare 8-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon. Made in small batches and refined with oak and Texas mesquite charcoals, this unique process results in an extraordinarily balanced and smooth sipping whiskey with subtle hints of smoky sweetness. There was a moment where I felt like I tasted some smokiness. It's very, very faint and fleeting. It's not there in every sip for sure. I thought I smelled it on the nose, but I wasn't too positive about it. But God, this is not an easy drinking, smooth drinking whiskey. It's smooth in the sense that it tastes very diluted. It tastes like the proof that it is, very low proof. It just doesn't have the flavor to back it up. It certainly doesn't taste like it's 8 years old. And so, gosh, guys, I love Wild Turkey. I've done a ton of reviews on their stuff. Wild Turkey 101, which is another budget product. Wild Turkey 101 is more than half the cost of this. This typically goes for about $40. I was able to find this for $30 at Costco, so I'm glad I didn't pay too much for it. But I mean, you can buy Wild Turkey 101 for half the price of this. It's way higher proof. Obviously, this is 86, that's 101. It's way better tasting, way better flavor. Age-wise, I think it's relatively similar. Obviously, it doesn't give you an age statement, but it's a blend of ages, but I feel like it's at least in the 8-year-old average range. And it just has better flavor. I am so disappointed. I don't know if you could tell. Maybe you can't tell. Am I not expressing? I think this is a disappointment. I love Wild Turkey. I love Rare Breed. I love their special releases. I love most everything they do. And this is just a bummer, guys. Longbranch, for me, is a lose on this one. I can't recommend purchasing it. And I'm a big fan of Wild Turkey. And gosh, I don't know why they put this out, to be quite honest with you. It is not a good whiskey. So maybe I got an off bottle. Maybe this needs to open up. I will definitely come back to this and give you an update if something changes. But as it sits right now, this is not a great whiskey. I can't recommend buying it. So please, please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your opinion of Longbranch, as obviously you've heard, mine is not good. So I love Wild Turkey. I'm sure a lot of you like Wild Turkey, but do you like the Longbranch? Gotta know. Let me know in the comments down below. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at blind_reviews. You can send me an email at blindwhiskeyreviews, that's whiskey with an E, @gmail.com. And until next time, cheers.